What's up everyone, it's Q from Retro Q Game, and I've got a nice wide variety of topics today. It's going to be a fun one to talk about for sure. But first off, I want to talk about the new announcement that Nintendo made today. It's depending on what way you look at it, it's a relatively small announcement, but it's one that has its roots ingrained in something more important that I really want to talk about. So, what is it anyway? Well, first off, Nintendo have announced that Pokemon Crystal from the Game Boy Color will be arriving on the 3DS Virtual Console next year in 2018. It's going to be launching at $9.99, that's dollars, assuming it's going to be €9.99, and probably, what is it, $6.99, maybe £7.99 pounds, but whatever it is. Anyway, and that's going to be available on January 26th, 2018 on the 3DS eShop. Because it's a Game Boy Color game, you can play it on any model of the 3DS or 2DS. You don't need a new 3DS like it would if it was a Super Nintendo game. And as with Gold and Silver, if you live in Europe or Japan, you can actually buy a physical boxed copy. I say a physical boxed copy because realistically it still comes with a download code in the box, but people like that kind of thing. Personally, I missed out on the gold and silver ones. I could have got the silver one, but the gold one was all sold out by the time I actually tried to get it, and I didn't want one and not the other. But this brings us to another part of the topic that I want to talk about, and when you look at it, because this is going to launch on January 26, 2018, which is essentially 7 years after the 3DS first launched. It's 6 years and 11 months, but I'm going to call it 7 years. And it just goes to show that even despite some of the times and some of the problems where there were virtual console issues, like for example that entire year where there wasn't a single virtual console release on the 3DS, that's right, look it up, not a single virtual console game released in one of the years, that even after 7 years Nintendo is still updating the virtual console on the 3DS. But that brings us to something else, the Nintendo Switch, properly unveiled and launched and released, well I shouldn't say launched, but you know what I mean, almost a year ago from the actual release date of Pokemon Crystal on 3DS Virtual Console. I believe it was the 13th of January. But more importantly, since then, there was no Virtual Console. I believe they've talked about Virtual Console twice, and even then they just fobbed it off by just saying shit like, we know people want one, and that's it. But this brings me back to something I made a video about before actually. Something very similar in date. If you go back from January 26, 2018, reverse maybe about a year, we'll probably be somewhere in around the January 16th to 26th mark. Somewhere in around there. I don't expect you to go back and watch the video, I'm just going to summarize it right here. But someone caught up with Reggie and they had a chance to actually ask him, what's the deal with the Virtual Console? We have no new news about the Virtual Console, we have no info on the Virtual Console, what is the deal with it? And remember, this was in January of 2017, a few days after they had just unveiled properly and gone over a lot of the details of the, as of then, unreleased Nintendo Switch. And Reggie said that within the next 40 something days between then and launch of the console, to stay tuned for more information about the Virtual Console. They'd be going over more details and revealing more about it. That never happened, and the only ever time they've mentioned Virtual Console since then was in June. And even then, at the start of June, all they said was, we realized that people want a Virtual Console. That's it. Now there's all these talks and rumors and whatever about the whole Nintendo subscription service, and there allegedly being kind of a Netflix style virtual console of a subscription based fee tied in with the online gaming component, which is all absolute bullshit. And the reason why I talk about this so much is not only is it fucking up the gamers so much and it's fucking us over, but it's really bad press for Nintendo. Their most requested feature, one that they pioneered about 11 years ago on the Wii, and have such an amazing history of games over the NES, the SNES, the N64, the GameCube, to an extent the Wii. Just for the sake of it, I'll put Wii U in there because there was like a handful of good games. Now, I'm not expecting to get Wii U games. I know we get ports and remasters, but I'm not expecting them to get Wii U games or maybe even Wii games in the Virtual Console. And I know there's a whole issue with GameCube games because of the non-analog shoulder button on the Switch controller. But the point is that they are just screwing everyone over, and it's a really bad look, especially considering the fact the Nintendo Switch launched missing almost every basic feature that we've come to expect from home consoles, which the Nintendo Switch actually is. According to Nintendo themselves, it's a home console first and a hybrid device second, or it's also incorporated features in the most poorly haphazard way. Looking at you, voice chat and party and whatever solution. But it just begs the question, what are Nintendo doing? Now I realize Nintendo have just announced that they've sold 10 million Switches in 9 months. That is fantastic. That is great great sales. So it really goes to show that a lot of people want a Nintendo product, and it just goes to show how absolutely starved and dehydrated Nintendo fans actually were from the absolutely diabolical Wii U. Remember that joke console for like 5 years? Yeah, that one. So I don't know, I think Nintendo were handling this really poorly, especially when you look at the history of the Virtual Console. When the Virtual Console first released on the Wii, it was actually shit for about 2 or 3 years. Then it started getting really good and really hype, and then we got big games, large amounts of releases pretty quickly. The Wii U one was terrible. You get drip fed a single game every month, a single game every week, and then maybe once every 2 or 3 months you'd have a relatively high profile game, but the selection was considerably smaller, and we were missing some high quality games that the Wii had, but not the Wii U. I'm not even going to get into the whole deal of the 3DS thing with the unified account system and no cross-platform buy and whatever. I'm not even going to bother talking about that in detail, at least, but it's just such a haphazardly mishandled situation. What is the deal with the Nintendo Switch Virtual Console? Is it going to be one of these crappy subscription services? I know personally, I hope it's not. If it is, I won't be paying for a subscription service. I don't plan on paying for the subscription service as it is for the online component, but this is just an absolute mess. They've mentioned it twice in a year, one of which has been a straight out lie and the other has been just complete PR speak. However, when it is fully announced and fully detailed and all, I am very curious to see what the offering actually is. It has so much potential given the quality of Nintendo's history. Like I said, NES, SNES, N64, GameCube, we won't even include the Wii, but you see my point. And then of course there could even be other stuff like Master System, Mega Drive, Saturn, Dreamcast, I don't know. They could all be in there. But we'll see how it goes. I'm very curious to see if it's completely fucked up and how people react to it when it actually does come about. So what does this new announcement do for you in relation to the questions regarding the Nintendo Switch Virtual Console? Does it make you worry? Do you not like the rumors we already hear and know about with the say paid subscription service or whatever? Let me know how you want to see it and what your worries are about the whole thing, as well as the almost near radio silence and lies and PR speak and fobbing off that we've already heard from that terrible mouthpiece Reggie at this point. Let me know all of that good stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the rest of the videos in my channel.